elements. What are 16th group elements? Oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, and polonium. If you see the first two elements, that is oxygen and sulfur, they both are non-metals. They both are non-metals. Selenium and tellurium, they are metalloids, whereas polonium is the radioactive metal. Then if you look at the electronic configuration, atomic number oxygen 8 plus 8, sulfur 16 plus 18, that is selenium 34, and again 1852, polonium 84. See, any group we are following 8, 18, 18, 32 sequence to write the atomic numbers of the given elements. Okay, now come to this electronic configuration. What is the covalency of oxygen? Anybody? Covalency of second period elements is how much? The second period elements, which starts from lithium till fluorine, the covalency is 4. The covalency is 4. Complete second period elements, we can see covalency 4, because in the second period we are going to fill the 2s and 2p. We can see 3 2p orbitals, that is 2px1, 2px, 2py, and 2pz we can take. 2pz we can take, and 1 2s will be there. That is why we can see a 4 bonds with the other elements. That is the reason the covalency is 4. Okay, now if you see the sulfur, we can see 3s to 3p4 configuration. In addition to this, we can see empty 3d orbitals here. But if you come to the selenium, there is a filling of d electrons followed by 4s and 4p. And tellurium also, there is a filling of d electrons followed by s and p. And polonium, we can see there is a filling of f and d followed by s and p, we can say. Means here in every group, the last element we can see f and d electrons filling. Before that, two members we can see only the filling of d and sp electrons. And before that, if you see sulfur 3s 3p and here 2s 2p, but here we can see the empty 3d orbital we can notice here. Empty 3d orbital we can notice here. Then come to the covalent radius. Generally the covalent radius increases down the group, which we can notice with the help of values. Even ionic radius, that is 140 to 184, 184 to 198, 198 to 21, 221 to 230. Now come to the electron gain enthalpy. The electron gain enthalpy means electron affinity. The meaning of electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity will be same. The electron affinity value will be more negative for sulfur, rather than oxygen, because of its small size. We can expect a less negative electron gain enthalpy for oxygen. We can expect high for sulfur, that is minus 200. Very, very important. This particular chapter, this particular point note down, that is electron gain enthalpy values in the increasing order you take. Now, even if you take ionization enthalpy down the group, what happens? The ionization enthalpy values decreases. This is due to increase in the atomic radius. Then electronegativity values also, it will decreases down the group. If you see the electronegativity values, we can see the decrease in the electronegativity values here. Even the densities, generally in all the groups the densities are going to increase. That is here 150 1.32 2.06 4.19 and 6.25. Even if you see the melting points, it is going to increase from oxygen to sulfur, sulfur to selenium, and selenium to tellurium. But from tellurium to polonium, it decreases. Suppose if they ask you to arrange in the increasing order of melting points, you can write oxygen less than, sulfur less than, selenium less than, polonium less than, tellurium you can take. Even if you take boiling points, the boiling points here also, it is going to show the same thing. That is oxygen less than sulfur, sulfur less than selenium, selenium less than polonium, polonium less than tellurium. It means in both the cases, the melting and the boiling points, we can see the same trend. Now come to the oxidation states. Oxidation state means what? The general electronic configuration, we can write ns2 np4. We can write means either it can lose all 6 electrons. That time we can see the +6 oxidation state, and we can see -4 oxidation state. Then we can see +4 oxidation state. Like this, we can see for oxygen also -2 oxidation state, -2 oxidation state. Generally the variable oxidation state is shown by p block elements, p block elements, right? Now come to the compounds of the 16th group elements. Before that, I'll conclude with an important point. Here, if you take 15th group elements and 16th group elements, where we can expect a higher ionization enthalpy. When we take 15th group and 16th group, where we can expect a high ionization enthalpy. In 15th group elements, we can see the highest ionization enthalpy when compared to 16th group, because in the 15th group, whatever the 3 electrons are there, it is going to occupy one electron each in the each orbital. In the case of 16th group, we can fill the electrons like this 1 2 3, and a fourth electron will be coming like this, because the half filled electrons will have greater ionization enthalpy when compared to incompletely filled ones, right? Now come to the next one, that is compounds of this particular uh, elements group, this particular group we are going to take, right? For this, let us take this here. First we are going to see the hydrates of the 16th group elements. These 16th group elements are going to form, it is going to form different hydrates, that is H2O, H2S, H2Se, and H2Te. In all the cases, we can see sp3 hybridization, and we can see a bent shape or V-shaped molecule. V-shaped molecule, or we can call it as a angular molecule. Angular molecule. Here, what type of repulsions we can see? In case of H2O, we can see bond pair, sorry, lone pair repulsions. Here we can see 2 lone pairs. Because of this lone pair repulsions, we can expect a bent shape or V-shaped or angular shaped instead of tetrahedral. Here the bond angle we can see 104.5 degree for water molecule. Generally sp3 means what bond angle we can see? 109 degrees 28 minutes, but here it is showing 104.5 degrees. Right. Now come to the melting points. Melting points, what happens? Generally, it increases down the group. If you see the melting points, it increases down the group. But here we can see the order H2S less than, H2SE less than, H2TE less than, H2O. Because in case of H2O, we can see higher boiling point because of what? Intermolecular hydrogen bonding. In case of H2O, we can see the intermolecular hydrogen bonding, which we can show like this, which is happening between the molecules here, which is happening between the molecules. Because of this, what happens? We can expect more energy to require to break the bonds. That is why we can expect a higher boil melting points. Even if you see the boiling points, the melting points as well as boiling points, it is going to follow the same trend here. The bond distances, generally bond distances increases down the group. Bond distances increases down the group, and bond angles decreases down the group. Bond angles decreases down the group. And when we look at the bond dissociation enthalpy, it is decreases down the group. It is decreases down the group. Why bond enthalpy decreases down the group here? Because the bond distance is higher, automatically easily we can break the bond. Easily we can break the bond, right? See here, dissociation constant also decreasing down the, increasing down the group, increasing down the group. But focus mainly on melting and boiling points, because from this also questions are coming frequently. This particular group alone, we can see the same trend in melting points and boiling points, but that is different in the case of 15th group elements, right? Now generally we see that the first member of the any group, it is going to show the different properties with the other members, right? Why it is going to show like that? The first member, it is going to show the different properties when compared with the other member. Why it is happening like that? Any reason for that? The first reason for that is small size, and the second one is high electronegativity, and the third reason is high electron ionization enthalpy, and we can say the other reason is the non-availability of d orbitals. For every group, we can take two points are common, that is small size, the other one is non-availability of d orbitals or d electrons. If d orbitals are there, we can see the d electrons. If d orbitals are not there, we cannot see any d electrons here. It means what here? We cannot see any d electrons. That is why the chemistry of the first member of any group is entirely different with the other members of the same group. Okay, now come to this particular one. Again, that H2O, H2S, H2SE, and H2TE, like that. Here I'll give a brief points. Actually, the acidic character increases. Acidic character increases from H2S2, H2O2, H2 Te, means hydrogen tellurium, hydrogen telluride, water to telluride. Here we can see there is an increase in acidic character because of less bond dissociation enthalpy. At the same time, the thermal stability decreases. Thermal stability decreases from H2O to H2TE, and generally the reducing character increases. The reducing character increases from H2O to H2E. Both acidic character as well as reducing character increases, whereas the thermal stability decreases down the group. Right. Now, straight away come to the compounds here. First one, I am going to take oxygen. Oxygen, how will you prepare generally? By using different methods. Oxygen can be prepared by thermal decomposition. KClO3 gives rise to KCl plus O2 we can take. Here what catalyst we can take? MnO2 as the catalyst. Thereby it is giving oxygen as the product. Not only this, even if you take metal oxides, that is Ag2O, which on decomposition it gives Ag plus O2 it will give. Even if you take HgO, which on decomposition it gives Hg plus O2 we can take. And we take like Pb3O4, that is lead oxide. It forms PbO plus O2 we can take. Even if you take lead oxide, the other form you can take like this. This also will give PbO plus O2 we can take. Right. Even by the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide, that is 2H2O2, which on heating it is giving 2H2O plus O2 we can take. Right. But whatever the things we are, whatever the reactions we are using here, this and all, it gives a very less quantity of oxygen. Generally, we follow industrial method for the preparation of oxygen. For that, we are going to use the fractional distillation technique. The fractional distillation of air, which I discussed already in the nitrogen preparation. For this, first we'll separate nitrogen as well as oxygen depending on their boiling points. Right. Now, it has unique behavior. Oxygen it combines with almost all metals as well as non-metals, except some noble gases as well as some noble metals like AuPt. Au, that is gold, and platinum, and some non-metals, some noble gases. Some noble gases alone is not going to react with this, but it combines with many elements. Suppose if it combines with the metals like calcium, it forms calcium oxide, and if it combines with CH4, that is methane, combines with the oxygen, it gives CO2 plus H2O we can take here. See, anybody knows how to balance? The common equation is there for this. CH4 plus O2 gives rise to CO2 plus H2O. Any idea is there regarding this? Any idea is there regarding this? How to balance this equation by using a common equation, that is CXHY plus X plus Y by 4 O2 gives rise to XCO2 plus Y by 2 H2O we can take. XCO2 plus Y by 2 H2O we can take. Even you can write like this, that is 2SO2 plus O2 gives rise to 2SO3. What is the name of this process actually? What is the name of this process? This is nothing but a contact process for the production of sulfuric acid, and we can take HCl plus O2 gives rise to Cl2 plus H2O. Here I'll be taking CuCl2. I'll be taking CuCl2. This is nothing but a Dacon's process for the preparation of chlorine we can take, because the reaction is happening with the help of oxygen. Right. Now, as I said, oxygen combines with many metals as well as non-metals. It forms many oxides. It forms many oxides. These oxides may be simple. Simple oxides, the example we can take MgO, Al2O3. Just now what we took, that is CaO. That is CaO, Al2O3, CaO we can take. If you take mixed oxides, for that we can take Fe3O4. What is the meaning of Fe3O4? It is a combination of FeO plus Fe2O3, which gives Fe3O4. FeO plus Fe2O3 only we call it as Fe3O4. Even we can take one more mixed oxide, that is Pb3O4, that we can take PbO plus PbO2 we can take. PbO plus PbO2 we can take, right? By the combination of these two only, we are getting Pb3O4. Suppose if you take 2 PbO here, now it will be like 2 Pb's, 1 Pb3, Pb3O4, it is balanced here, right? Even these oxides, we can classify it as acidic oxides, basic oxides, and neutral oxides. Neutral oxides. The best example for neutral oxides, I am going to take NCO, NO, and N2O like this. Previous class I said that NO and N2O will be the neutral oxides, and I said one more thing, that is NO and NO2 will be the odd electron species which are paramagnetic in nature. Now acidic oxides means what? The non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. Non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature, whereas the metallic oxides are basic in nature. For non-metallic oxides, best example, you can take this only. When it reacts with water, what it is going to produce? It will give calcium hydroxide as the product. Metallic oxides, that is CO2, non-metallic oxides. CO2, what is happening when it reacts with H2O? When it reacts with H2O, it gives H2CO3 as the product. H2CO3 as the product, right? Means metallic oxides are basic in nature. The best example, CaO we can take. Acidic oxide, CO2 will be the acidic oxide, which is a non-metallic oxide. Even if you take SO2, when it reacts with H2O, it gives H2SO3 as the product. That is sulfurous acid. Sulfurous acid you can take. But there are some amphoteric oxides. The best example for amphoteric oxides, I can take beryllium oxide. I can consider aluminum oxide. Then we can take zinc oxide. Zinc oxide. These are all amphoteric oxides which reacts with both acids as well as bases. Now let us see the reactions with the Al2O3, because already BO reactions we took, beryllium oxide reactions. Al2O3, when it reacts with HCl, it gives AlH2O taken 6 3 plus. What is the name of this compound? Plus 6Cl minus. Here I am writing directly aqueous because the reaction is happening in the aqueous solution. Even if it reacts with the Al2O3 with NaOH, one time with acid, the other time with base, it forms Na3Al taken 6 times we can write. What is the name of this compound actually? Anybody can say this, Ra? Anybody, you can say this. What is the name of this? Which one? First one you tell, Ra. I am connecting to coordination compounds. What is the name of this compound? We can.
Aluminium.
Very good.
Roman
Hexa aqua aluminium 3 I am writing. Okay. Then this particular one, what is the name? Muzamil, just now one fellow entered, will see that. What is the name of the compound?
hexahydroxy.
Hexa
Hydroxide aluminum.
sodium. First Na3 is there, no? That I'll write sodium hexahydroxido. Hexahydroxido aluminate 3. Correct? Hexahydroxido aluminate 3. See, this OH, when it is there, generally we call this as hydroxy, but here in some books they are giving hydroxo, and in some books they are giving hydroxido. Some books they are giving hydroxido. you can take either hydroxo or hydroxido. Both are same only. Why I am taking this? This is anionic complex. Here what is the oxidation state? Sodium plus 1, like that 3 will be there, 3 plus. Aluminum we are supposed to find out, that is X. OH minus, that is 6 OH minus are there, is equal to 6 is equal to 0. X is equal to plus 3 we can take. Right. Now this is hexa sodium hexahydroxido aluminum aluminate we can take. Now come to the next one, that is ozone. What is ozone formula? This ozone
O3.
formula is
Three, sir.
O3. Right. In chemical bonding, by using this ozone, what you calculated, Ra?
Bond order.
No. Anybody? Formal charge. Formal charge formula is what? Number of free electrons minus number of lone pair of electrons minus 1 by 2 bond pair of electrons. Don't forget the formulas. Right. This can be prepared by using oxygen. 3O2 gives rise to 2O3, where the delta H value will be 142 kilojoules per mole. Kilojoules per mole we can take. Right. Means here it is happening at high temperature. Generally endothermic reactions are happening at a high temperature. Now if you see this ozone, when it is gas, it appears as pale blue. Then when it is a liquid, it is a dark blue liquid. It is a dark blue liquid. When you see the solid form, it is a violet black solid. It is a violet black solid. The main use of this ozone is it is acting as a powerful oxidizing agent. This ozone will be acting as a powerful oxidizing agent. For that I am going to take PBS. When it reacts with the ozone, it gives PbSO4. PbSO4 plus O2 we can take. Even if you take I minus, when it reacts with the H2O plus O3 with ozone, it gives OH minus plus I2 plus O2 we can take. Means the I minus is going to minus 2, means here the oxidation state is -1. -1 to 0 means what? Increase in oxidation number is oxidation we can say. Increase in oxidation number is oxidation we can say. Right. But this is very important regarding ozone. It is acting as a powerful oxidizing agent. Then can you tell the structure of ozone? In ozone, we can see the angular geometry that you can take like this. Then we can see 117-degree bond angle in case of ozone. Right. It is a bent shaped molecule. Bent shaped molecule. Now come to the sulfur. Come to the sulfur. Sulfur we can see two forms, that is alpha sulfur. I am talking about allotropic forms, alpha sulfur, and the second one is beta sulfur. This alpha sulfur we can also call it as rhombic sulfur. Then the beta sulfur we can also call it as monoclinic sulfur. Monoclinic sulfur. Actually this rhombic sulfur and monoclinic sulfur below 369 Kelvin, below 369 Kelvin, alpha sulfur is more stable. Above 369 Kelvin, the beta sulfur is more stable. Beta sulfur is more stable. But at a particular temperature, that is at the temperature range of 369 Kelvin, the alpha sulfur also stable and beta sulfur also stable. Beta sulfur also stable. That particular temperature we call it as transition temperature. Transition temperature. In transition temperature, both alpha sulfur as well as beta sulfur is stable. Above which beta sulfur is stable, below which alpha sulfur is stable. Okay, but if you see the other modifications of this sulfur compounds at a temperature range of 1000 Kelvin, which is a elevated temperature, we can see the existence of S2 molecule. We can see the existence of S2 molecule, which is similar to that of O2 molecule, which is similar to that of O2 molecule, which is a paramagnetic substance, which is a paramagnetic substance. Here I have one question to everyone. Can you tell me the energy level diagram? Right. See, somebody marked here alpha sulfur, beta sulfur here. Any doubt here regarding this? The transition temperature we are talking about conversion of alpha sulfur to beta sulfur at exactly 369 Kelvin. We can see the both forms are stable. Alpha sulfur as well as beta sulfur is stable. But if you increase the temperature more than 369, we can see the beta sulfur is more stable. At the temperature is below 369, alpha sulfur is more stable. Generally, sulfur we can see in the S8 form, that is a 8-membered ring we can see. But here we can see S2 molecule at a special case, that is at the temperature range of 1000 Kelvin, we can see this. This S2 molecule is similar to that of O2 molecule. Like O2 molecule, how we can see a paramagnetic behavior, even in the S2 molecule, we can expect a paramagnetic behavior. Is it clear, Sneha?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, come to the energy level diagram for oxygen. Energy level diagram, anybody, can you say that? You think about that? Then by that time I'll discuss little bit regarding sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide, how we can prepare? Directly you can prepare. Sulfur reacts with oxygen, it forms sulfur dioxide. This is one. Even in the laboratory, this sulfur can be prepared by using sulfides, that is SO3 2 minus plus H plus gives rise to, you can write H2O plus SO2 we can take. But whatever the product we are going to produce, that we need in a bulk quantity, that is the reason we are going with industrial method of preparation. Industrial method of preparation. For that we are taking FeS2 plus oxygen, it gives Fe2O3 plus SO2 we can take. SO2 we can take. Generally, what is the nature of SO2? It is acidic in nature. That is why it combines with the water. Thereby, it is going to produce H2SO3 as the product. That is sulfurous acid. It reacts with being an acid. It reacts with the base like NaOH. It gives Na2SO3 plus H2O we can take. Na2SO3 plus H2O we can take. This Na2SO3 plus H2O. Still, if you pass sulfur dioxide gas, it is giving NaHSO3, that is sodium bisulfate we can take. Right. Generally, this sulfur dioxide will be acting as a reducing agent. Will be acting as a reducing agent. For that, I am going to take reaction, that is Fe3 plus SO2 plus H2O. Generally, in the presence of moisture only, it is acting as a reducing agent. It gives Fe2 plus Fe2 plus SO4 2 minus plus H plus we can take. Means The Fe3 plus is converting into Fe2 plus. What is the role of SO2 here? A reducing agent. Reducing agent undergo oxidation. Reducing agent undergo oxidation, right? It is changing from +3 to +4. Even whatever you take, there will be the decrease. What is this actually? Who is doing this? Right. Now Fe3 plus SO2 plus H2O gives rise to Fe2 plus SO4 2 minus plus H plus we can take. What is the shape of SO2 here? The shape of SO2, what we can write? That is S double bond O, single bond O, like this we can take. This is one structure for SO2. We can also write another structure, that is S double bond O and S double bond O, like this. S double bond O, like this. Which one is correct? This one is correct, and this one is correct. Which one is correct to tell me now? Which one is correct? What about this? What about this? Both are correct. Both are correct. Both ways we can represent. Both the ways we can represent. Here the shape of the molecule is angular shaped. The shape of the molecule is angular shaped. But here if I show like this, what type of double bonds here? Here we can expect. Right. Wait. Very good. Very, very good. That only I'm going to speak here. Let us wait for 1 minute. I'll give the clear picture how I am taking this. I'll take. Don't worry. Now, no, okay. I understood. I understood. I'll explain. Don't worry. Okay. Don't write. I'm writing here sulfur. Like this, I am writing one structure. I stick on to that. And again, I'll be taking like this S single bond O, like this. Generally, the valence electrons, how many? Here we can take NS2 and we can take NP4. Some disturbance is coming up. Please switch off the mic. Just you listen. That you put it in unmute. Now NS2 NP4. NS2 means here I can take one like this, one like this. In the here we can write 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one I can keep like this. I can keep like this. Suppose if you move to the excited state, if you move to the excited state, what happens? The one of the electrons will be moving from one of the electrons will be moving from d orbital. One of the electrons will be moving from d orbital. This I'll be taking 3s2 and here it is 3p4. One is shifted here. Then I can take 3p3 and 3d1 here in the excited state. We know that these two electrons will be there as usual on the sulfur. It will be like this, right? Remaining 4 bonds we can show here. Here I can also take here also. Remaining 4 bonds means what? 4 electrons we are going to involve here. Already oxygen valence electrons how many? 6. In that 2 involved in bond formation. That remaining 4 will be acting as 2 lone pairs that I took here. These 4 should combine with 4 other electrons. 4 other electrons. Here 1 electron from, you take this particular one, this is going to combine with the oxygen electron. It forms one bond, which is a sigma bond. Which is a sigma bond. Here even the second electron is going to combine with oxygen electron. Here also it is going to form a sigma bond. Is going to form a sigma bond. Now the pi bonds we should see. Just generally we can expect the sigma bonds only will form first, followed by pi bond. Is it clear? Now in this case what is happening is these 2 electrons will be there. Then what is going to happen? This particular one, this particular one, either you take this side or this side, that is left to you. The p electron of sulfur which combines with p electron of oxygen, thereby it forms a p pi p pi bond. Thereby it forms a p pi p pi bond. Then another sigma pi bond is there here, which is going to combine with the d electron of sulfur, that is d electron of sulfur and p electron of oxygen. Thereby it forms a what bond? D pi p pi bond we can see. What bond we can see? The D pi p pi bond we can see. Is it clear now? See, just to show the
Yes, sir.
octet configuration, we are taking like this. To show the p pi p pi and d pi p pi bond, I am taking like this. Somebody raised question, how sir? For they understood or not, please let me know. Who is that? Understood or not? Someone said how sir like that. Somebody wrote on the desktop. Who is that? Whether you understood or not, that you tell me.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now here we can see one p pi p pi bond, one d pi p pi bond, one d pi p pi bond. Very important. This particular one sometimes you can expect. Now I can take SO3 molecule. In SO3 I can draw like this: S double bond O, single bond O, single bond O, like this. Even I can take S double bond O, S double bond O, S double bond O. Which is correct? This also correct. This also correct. Here we can expect one p pi p pi bond. Then the other two are d pi p pi bond here. Here also you can take the
P pi
d
P
pi
pi
p pi bond. Understood this? How I'm writing this? Now ns 3s to 3p4, no? That I'll be taking 3s to 3p4 and 5d will be taking. I am not taking empty here. Only we can take 1 2 3 4 5 6. This is from sulfur. It is forming the 3 sigma bond. These 3 will get over, and 1p with another p of oxygen, another 2d with p electrons. It forms d pi p pi bonds like this. Okay, understood this? Now come to the important note of this particular one. The sulfur dioxide is also acting as a bleaching agent, but its bleaching agent or bleaching action of sulfur dioxide is temporary. Why it is temporary? Anybody? Why the bleaching action of sulfur dioxide is temporary? Anyone? You can say that. The bleaching action of sulfur dioxide is temporary because it is happening with the help of reduction. It is happening with the help of reduction. For that I am taking SO2 plus H2O gives rise to H2SO4 plus 2H we can take. The bleaching action of this one is happening with the help of reduction, that is nascent hydrogen. Nascent hydrogen, that is newly produced hydrogen. When we add color matter, when we add this nascent hydrogen to the colored matter, it becomes colorless. It becomes colorless. This colorless matter, when it becomes oxidized in the presence of atmospheric air, it becomes again a colored matter. That is why it is a temporary bleaching agent. Its action is temporary. But in our complete syllabus, we can see only this one is going to show the temporary bleaching action. It is clear to everyone? This also expected question for final NEET exam. Okay, now come to this particular one, the oxo acids of sulfur. Oxo acids of sulfur. What is the shape of oxo acids of phosphorus? Oxo acids of sulfur. Right. Anybody, anybody you can answer this. What is the shape of, or what is the geometry of oxo acids of sulfur? Oxo acids of sulfur. What we can say regarding that? I said one point clearly. If you take oxo acids of phosphorus, oxo acids of sulfur, oxo acids of chlorine, in all the cases, we can see that the tetrahedral geometry and sp3 hybridization. This is blind mark for all oxo acids. Okay, if you take oxo acids of sulfur, sulfur, oxo acids of chlorine, oxo acids of phosphorus, all the places we can see the sp3 hybridization and uh, tetrahedral geometry we can take. Tetrahedral geometry we can take. Just remember this point. Our memory also going to play a key role in the final exam, right? Now come to the oxo acids of sulfur. What is the first one? We can take H2SO3, the one which we took in the beginning in the chemical properties of sulfur dioxide, that is H2SO3. Here we can write one lone pair here. We can write one lone pair here on sulfur, that I'll be taking one lone pair. It will be like this. Then one double bond, then one OH, then another OH like this. What is the basicity here? The two
2.
replaceable hydrogens. The basicity is 2 here.
2.
Then sulfuric acid, H2SO4. This also we can write like H2SO4, S double bond O, S double bond O, OH, OH. We can take this also a dibasic acid. Dibasic acid. Then here we can see some oleum. What is oleum actually? What is the name of this oleum? Oleum.
S2O7.
H2S2O7. This volume where we used in organic chemistry, H2S2O7. This I already asked you where we used it. H2S2O7 in where we used
Contact process.
Contact process.
organic. I am telling you are telling here. I am asking organic. Organic we are using in
Petroleum refining.
Petroleum refining. Who is that? Who said this? Your good name, please.
Arun.
Arun, it is wrong, Arun, actually. This one we used in electrophilic substitution reactions of benzene. Benzene reacts with SO3 in the presence of H2SO4. It gives benzene sulfonic acid. SO3H plus H2O we can take. Here the combination of SO3 in H2SO4 only, call it as oleum only. This SO3 and H2SO4 combination only we call it as oleum. Is it clear?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
In petroleum refining, that is ZSM5 type of zeolites we are going to use. Right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Very good. Anyhow, approach is very nice. Nothing to worry regarding that. Already I discussed this particular one with them previously, but no one answered right now. Now, come to this H2S2O7. What is the structure of this one? Oleum you said. What is the name of this one, Ra? The name of this one is pyrosulfuric acid. The name of this particular one is pyrosulfuric acid. The structure we can draw like S double bond O, S double bond O, OH, then oxygen, then S double bond O, S double bond O, OH we can take. Even if you see this, here we can say the structure is sp3 hybridization and tetrahedral only. Tetrahedral only. Right. Then what is the name of H2S2O6? What is the name of this one? We can call this as a dithionic acid. Dithionic acid, where we can write S double bond O, S double bond O, OH, then again S double bond O, S double bond O, OH we can take. They don't ask questions like this. Which of the following structure contains SOS linkage, SS linkage? Like that they are going to ask the questions. They don't ask what is dithionic acid, what is pyrosulfuric acid, and what is oleum. They'll be asking like this only. Okay. Now Come to the two important another acids, that is H2SO5. What is the name of this one? The name of this one is Carros acid. Carros acid. Then H2S2O8. The name of this one is Marshall's acid. Marshall's, very good. The other name is what, Ra? Peroxy.
Peroxydisulfuric acid.
Very good. Peroxydisulfuric acid is this one. This one is peroxymonosulfuric acid. How we can write the structure? S double bond O like this. O single bond O. S double bond O. S double bond O. OH and OH we can take. What is this? Peroxydisulfuric acid. Here you can see one hydrogen, two hydrogens over. Two sulfurs here, one, remaining 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 you can take. Even if you come to H2SO5, that I'll be taking like this HOH and a double bond H2SO5. H2SO5, I'll be taking 3 here, oxygen, oxygen, H like this. This is peroxymonosulfuric acid. That is peroxydisulfuric acid, and this one is peroxymonosulfuric acid. But while teaching redox reaction, I clearly said that the oxidation state of sulfur in both the cases is +6 only. It is not going to exceed the number of valency electrons. Very, very important, right? Many times they asked in the exams also. Now, come to the preparation of sulfuric acid by using contact process. What is the first step? The sulfur combines with, very good, oxidation of sulfur. It gives sulfur dioxide. Then the next step is converting sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide by using vanadium pentoxide as the catalyst. The delta H will be minus 196 kilojoules per mole. 196 kilojoules per mole. This delta H value is negative, means the reaction is happening at a low temperature. Generally, exothermic reactions are happening at a low temperature. I explained the solubility of gases in liquids also follows exothermic process. Exothermic process. But here we should mention the Leach-Cutler conditions, that is 720 Kelvin and 2 bar pressure. Right. See, all these values we are supposed to take from NCERT textbook, not from any other standard books. Even in the final exams, they are going to consider that only. Right. Now, this is the second step. In the third step, what happens? SO3 combines with H2SO4. It gives what? H2S2O7. This one further hydrolysis only, it gives H2SO4 as the product. This particular reaction others won't show, but I am showing here. This one with hydrolysis only will give sulfuric acid as the product. Sulfuric acid as the product. Okay, understood this? Now, come to the properties of this particular one. Which one? Sulfuric acid. What is the main purpose of this? It is acting as strong acid. The main use of this particular one is strong acid. And the second one, it shows low volatility. Okay, that we'll see one by one. Low volatility. Low volatility means what? We can expect high boiling point. High boiling point. Okay. Now, here because of this low volatility, by using this, we can prepare more volatile acids, that is MX, that is metal. This M is nothing but metal, which is going to react with H2SO4. We can prepare HX plus M2SO4. In brackets, we can take X is equal to fluorine chlorine, and
Bromine and
NO3 minus. NO3 minus. Generally, we can take F minus, Cl minus, NO3, but here just X is given. For that, just you can take fluorine, chlorine, and NO3 group we can take. Means this is a low volatile. If you take HX here, you can take HCl, HF, and HNO3. HNO3. These three only we should consider, not bromo, iodo, and all we should not consider. What is given in the books, that only we should follow. That way only they'll confuse us. These are all what highly volatile acids. High volatile acids, or more volatile acids can be prepared from less volatile acids. High volatile acids will have less boiling points, lesser boiling points we can see. The another important property of this particular one is it is acting as a dehydrating agent, as Neha said. It is acting as a dehydrating agent. For this, what we are telling, I am going to take a carbohydrate, that is C12H22O11, which I'm treating with the concentrated H2SO4. It gives 12C plus 11H2O. 12C plus 11H2O, which is a black mass. Means it is acting as a dehydrating agent, which is going to remove the water molecule. And one more important property of this one is it is moderately strong oxidizing agent. It is acting as moderately strong oxidizing agent. But whereas ozone is powerful strong oxidizing agent. Powerful strong oxidizing agent we can say. Now here, because of that, Cu, when it reacts with H2SO4, it gives rise to CuSO4 plus SO2 plus H2O. Means reducing agent undergoes, oxidizing agent undergoes reduction. That is decrease in oxidation number. Here it is plus 6 Ra, and here it is plus 4 Ra. Plus 4. Oxidizing agent undergo reduction, that is decrease in oxidation number. Not only this, with respect to sulfur, when it is treated with sulfuric acid, it gives SO2 plus H2O we can take. Even with the carbon, when it reacts with the H2SO4, it gives rise to CO2 plus SO2 plus H2O we can take. H2O we can take. Very, very good. This is regarding 16th group. Now let us go with the 17th group. 17th group, let us see. Then one small request. This particular chapter, it looks little boring, at the same time more memory is involved. Please try to understand. That's all, nothing else actually. Okay, you can see the screen now here clearly. Generally, physical chemistry somewhat interesting, and this theory part, it will be a little bit boring, but no other go with us. Okay, now come to the group 17 elements. The group 17 elements configuration, you can take NS2NP5. NS2NP5 we can take. What is the name of this group? Halogens. What is the
5.
meaning of halogens? Salt. Halo means salt. Gens means generators or
Produce
producers. Salt
salt.
producers means in every salt, the negative part we can see mostly either F minus, Cl minus, Br minus, I minus, like that. The last element is given, that is astatine. What is that? Astatine. At is nothing but astatine we can take. Astatine we can take. Atomic number of fluorine is 9 plus 8 17 plus 1835 plus 1853 plus 3285 we can take. Generally we follow 8 18 18 32 sequence for writing the electronic configurations. Right now, the covalent radius, as usual, what happens? It increases down the group, and when we see these electronic configurations, like previous members, here also what we can see, first we can see the filling of 2s and 2p, and second one 3s and 3p, followed by MT3D, and next one D followed by SNP, D followed by SNP. The last member of the group, we can see F followed by D followed by S and P we can take. Right. Now come to the ionization enthalpy values. Generally ionization enthalpy values decreases down the group. That clearly we can see here. Even the electron gain enthalpy values, if you come here, the chlorine is the one which is going to show the more negative electron gain enthalpy when compared to fluorine. Very, very, very important, this particular one. Why? Chlorine, which of the following statements are correct regarding chlorine? The chlorine is the element which is going to show higher electron gain enthalpy when compared to fluorine. Generally, we expect, who is that using this particular one frequently? Who marked it like this? Don't do this on desktop. Okay. Now, here if you see this particular one, fluorine and chlorine, where we can see more negative, and chlorine we can see more negative, because in fluorine, because of its small size, and we can see the inter-electronic repulsions, we expect less electronegativity, electron gain enthalpy when compared to chlorine. It means when we take fluorine and fluorine, we can see the 3 lone pairs on each fluorine. 3 lone pairs on each fluorine. It is going to cause more repulsions. One is small size. The second one is inter-electronic repulsions. Apart from this, we can expect a less bond dissociation enthalpy for a fluorine also, right? This also we can consider that. Generally, if you see the electronegativity values, what happens? The electronegativity values will decreases down the group. Then the important one here is bond dissociation enthalpy. Even it is coming for CBSE board exam, and 1-2 times they asked in final competitive exams, whether it is mains or NEET, I don't know exactly, but 2-3 times they asked this particular one, right? Now here if you see the bond dissociation enthalpy, first we can take iodine, followed by fluorine, then followed by a bromine, followed by chlorine we can take. That is very, very important. Generally density is increasing, no need to worry much about this. Generally bond dissociation enthalpies decreases, but it is not regular. This we can see like this. Even if you see the boiling points, the boiling points increases, the melting points are also increases. The trend is like, we can write like F2 less than Cl2 less than Br2 less than I2. Who is that guy using that cross mark? When I'm taking class, somebody is using that white mark. Whether they're using app or simply they're putting cross mark. Right. Now, see, all these places we can see the increase in boiling points as well as increase in melting points, even including the density. We can see. Right. Very, very important. This particular one is very, very important. We can say. Then here, apart from that, we can say that some compounds of this particular one. Apart from that, let us see the colors of these particular compounds. Generally, the color of F2 is yellow. F2 element, it is going to show yellow color. Chlorine, we can see the greenish yellow color. Chlorine, we can see the greenish yellow color. Whereas bromine, you can see the red color, and iodine, you can see a violet color. Iodine, you can see a violet color. Okay. Fluorine yellow, chlorine greenish yellow, bromine red, iodine violet color we can take. Okay. Now, what is this, Ra? Who is writing this?
So, what's this, sir?
That only. Somebody is using some marker like thing.
I think they're just playing.
Some students, they are playing. Please don't do this type of activities here. Okay. Now, these colors and all, it is going to absorb colors from absorb light from the visible region. Thereby, it is going to show different colors. But finally, I'm going to notice this. This particular bond enthalpies are very important. Many times they asked, and these colors also we can expect. And apart from that, the melting and boiling points, generally it increases down the group. Generally, it increases down the group. Now, come to the oxidation states. Oxidation states of the 17th group elements. In 17th group elements, we can see the +1 oxidation state, +3 oxidation state, +5 oxidation state, and a +7 oxidation state. But common oxidation state is -1,
-1.
because it is going to take up one electron, thereby it forms F minus. Thereby it forms F minus radical. Now, in +1, +3, +5, and +7, we can see in the case of oxo acids. I'll take HOCl. In HOCl, what is the oxidation state here for chlorine? It is +1 oxidation state. Then HClO2, we can see +3 oxidation state. HClO3, we can take +5 oxidation state. HClO4, we can take +7 oxidation state. It means what? Here, this already we explained in redox reactions. X, halogen oxidation state only we want X. Then oxygen is how much? -2. Hydrogen is how much? +1, which is equal to 0. X -1 is equal to 0. X is equal to
1.
+1 you can take. Simultaneously, you can do this all the places what we get. Even if you take this particular one, X, for hydrogen it is +1, for oxygen it is -8 is equal to 0. X -7 is equal to 0. X is equal to +7 we can take. +7 we can take. Right. Now, in this table, I did not speak about these E0 values, that is standard electrode potential values of the given 17th group elements, that is 2.87, 1.36, 1.09, and 0.54 we can consider here. Then how we get these values? How we get these values? For this, I am going to take 1/2 x2. That is any halogen which on dissociation, it gives X, which is in the gaseous state. This I call it as enthalpy of dissociation or dissociation enthalpy. When by accepting electron, that is electron gain enthalpy, it becomes X minus. This X becomes X minus. This X minus, by accepting water, that is hydration enthalpy, it gives X aqua, X minus aqua. It means the delta H dissociation, that is enthalpy of dissociation, plus enthalpy electron gain enthalpy, plus then enthalpy of hydration, all together it will give the positive E0 value for the given halogens, positive E0 values for the halogens. According to electrochemistry, when the E0 value will be positive, when the E0 value will be positive, it will be acting as oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent means the oxidizing agent, what it undergoes? The oxidizing agent undergoes reduction, we can take, right? For that reason, I'm going to take some reactions. Let us see the reactions. Okay, now come here. Now, if you see here, the reaction with fluorine, when it reacts with H2O, it gives H plus plus F minus plus O2, we can take, this is one. Then X2 plus H2O I am taking here. X2 plus H2O I am taking. Here this X is nothing but chlorine and bromine we can take. It gives HX and HOX. What is this HOX actually? What is the name of this HOX? Hypohalous acid. Hypohalous acid. And even with iodine, we can take I minus plus H plus O2 gives rise to I2 plus H2O we can take. See, if you see this reaction and this reaction, this is just opposite to this. The first and fourth reaction, first and third reaction, 1, 2, and 3. If you see here, 1 and 3 will be just opposite. This reaction we can call it as non-spontaneous, whereas the first reaction we can call it as spontaneous reaction. Now, the oxidizing power we can take like F2 greater than Cl2 greater than Br2 greater than I2 we can take. I2 we can take. For this, I'll be writing reactions F2 plus X minus, that is 2X minus, it gives rise to F minus plus X2 we can take. Means the meaning of this is fluorine can displace chlorine, bromine, and iodine from the aqueous solutions. Now, if you see the second one, that is chlorine, when it reacts with X minus, here this X minus is what? Bromine and iodine we can take. Here we can take like Cl minus plus X2. Means the chlorine can display bromine and iodine. Even in the next case, bromine can displace iodine. That is why directly I am writing I minus. It gives rise to Br minus plus I2 I can take. Br minus plus I2 I can take. Means fluorine can displace remaining 3 from their aqueous solutions. Chlorine can displace remaining 2. Bromine can displace only 1, whereas iodine cannot displace anything. Right? Means the oxidizing power will come down when we move down the group. When we move down the group, and these reactions as well as these reactions shows the oxidizing power of the halogens. Shows the oxidizing power of the halogens. But generally, when we see the first member of any group, there we can expect different behavior. That is because of what? What is the first factor? The first factor is small size, and the second factor is non-availability of d
The
orbitals.
orbitals.
Non-availability of d orbitals. Apart from this, any other points we can include for fluorine? Any other points are there for fluorine?
High electronegativity.
Very good. High electronegativity. At the same time,
High ionization enthalpy.
okay, high electronegativity as well as high electron gain enthalpy. Electron gain enthalpy. But one important point you missed, which is that is low FF bond dissociation enthalpy. Low FF bond dissociation enthalpy. For that reason, it is going to show entirely different behavior. The main reason we are going to consider is the non-availability of d orbitals. non-availability of d orbitals. Is it clear? Right.
Yes.
Now come to
Yes.
another important topic from the same group, that is this particular one. Okay. This one is what are here, what you can see here, what you can see here.
Properties of hydrogen halides.
Very good. Properties of hydrogen halides. Right here we can see the melting points first. Melting points, how I can write? HCl less than, HBr less than, HF less than, I can take. HCl less than, HBr less than, HF less than, HI I can take. Boiling point, straight away I can take HBr less than, HF, sorry, wait, sorry, HBr, okay, HBr, HI, then HCl, finally HF we can say. See, this HF, why it is showing higher bond, higher boiling point, higher boiling point it is showing means even in case of HF we can see the intermolecular hydrogen bonding. What we can see, the intermolecular hydrogen bonding we can see even in the case of HF molecule. Right, very very important, and here pKa values are given. The acidic character we can write HF less than, HCl less than, HBr less than, HI we can take. This where I took this particular order in equilibrium I took. Down the group size dominates, easily it can give H plus ions. That is why it is going to show more acidic character. That is what clearly we can see in the pKa values. Smaller the pKa value, higher will be the acidic character. Smaller the pKa, higher the Ka, more will be the acidic character. The pKa is equal to minus log Ka we can take. Minus log Ka we can take. Okay. Now come to this particular one. Right, I'll complete this. Then we go with directly chlorine. Chlorine, how we prepared, any idea is there? Speak,
Sir, chlorine is prepared by the heating of MnO2 with the concentrated HCl.
Very, very good. Chlorine can be prepared by using MnO2 plus HCl gives rise to
Chlorine.
MnCl2 plus Cl2 plus H2O. This is one way to prepare. Nowadays, we can use a common salt and H2SO4. That is MnO2 plus NaCl plus H2SO4
2SO4.
gives rise to MnCl2 plus NaHSO4 plus H2O plus Cl2 I can take. Already I said regarding Dacon's process. Before that, let us take potassium permanganate. That is KMnO4 plus HCl gives rise to KCl plus MnCl2 plus H2O plus Cl2 I can take. Cl2 we can take. Then Dacon's process is what? 4HCl plus O2 in the presence of CuCl2. It gives rise to Cl2 plus H2O you
H2O.
can take. Cl2 plus H2O you can take. But here some important reactions are there. They are nothing but when sodium hydroxide, that is caustic soda, when it reacts with the chlorine, I am going to take cold and dilute sodium hydroxide. It gives water,
NaCl plus
NaCl plus NaOCl plus H2O. What is the name of NaOCl? Sodium hypochlorite. Names are very important. Here Cl2 0, here Cl minus 1, here Cl plus 1. This is an example of disproportionation reaction. Disproportionation reaction. Same NaOH when it is hot and concentrated. Hot and concentrated. It gives NaCl plus NaClO3 plus H2O we can take. That is sodium chlorate.
chlorate.
Sodium chlorate here 0, minus 1, minus 1. Here it is plus 5 oxidation. Very, very important. Even when it is react with the Slakel lime, that is CaOH taken twice plus Cl2 gives rise to CaOCl2 plus CaCl2 plus H2O we can take. But actually here what we can consider, the composition of bleaching powder is CaO, Cl taken twice dot CaCl2 dot CaOH taken twice dot 2H2O. This composition, please remember this. Sometimes you can expect this. Now, this is question for everyone. You take this calcium oxychloride, that is CaOCl taken twice. What is the oxidation number of chlorine? Tell in the next class, not now. Now not needed. Next class we'll see. Okay. Now, even if you take NH3, when it reacts with the chlorine, when chlorine is excess, what you can expect? Chlorine is expect, it gives NCl3 plus HCl. When ammonia is excess, that is NH3 is excess, that time it gives NH4Cl plus N2. Very, very important. Right. Now, even if you take CH4 plus Cl2, it gives CH3Cl plus HCl.
Cl.
What type of reaction it is going to show here? What type of reaction is it? What type of reaction is this? Anybody? Arun? Arun?
Substitution reaction.
What type of substitution?
Hmm.
What type of substitution? Good. Substitution
Saturated.
is... No.
Electrophilic substitution.
Electrophilic word we are not supposed to use until and unless if you see the benzene ring. It is very clear.
So what's
Okay.
the question?
Free radical substitution.
Oh, yes.
Free radical substitution. When benzene ring is there, that time you can consider other substitutions. That is electrophilic, but here it is free radical substitution. Right. Now, I'll take one more reaction here. That is C2H4 plus Cl2 gives rise to C2H4Cl2. The name of the product is 1,2 dichloroethane. Ethane. 1,2 dichloroethane. What type of reaction is this, Arun? Once again.
This is also a substitution reaction.
How you are telling it is substitution?
Hmm.
How you are telling substitution reaction? What we are doing, C2H4 name is what actually?
Ethane.
Ethene.
Ethene. Ethene is nothing but alkane, alkena.
Alkene.
Alkene undergo what type of reactions?
Addition type of reaction.
Addition reactions.
Correct. Yeah.
Very good. Alkenes are undergoing what type of reactions? Addition reactions. Addition reaction, what type of addition is do?
Electrophilic.
Electrophilic addition reactions. Very good. Electrophilic addition reactions we can say. Very, very good. Right. Now, this one I can call it as test for unsaturation. Test for unsaturation. Bromine in CCl4 and chlorine in CCl4 is used as test for unsaturation. The unsaturated compounds are converting into saturated. Unsaturated converting into saturated, we can say. Okay. Now, let us continue. We'll see the still important things are there. But this chlorine will be acting as oxidizing agent. What? Oxidizing agent as well as bleaching agent. Bleaching agent. Arun, you are from which place, Ram?
Bangalore, sir.
Bangalore, right? I can understand. Right. Now, chlorine water, that is chlorine water, it means chlorine reacts with H2O, it gives HCl and HOCl. HCl and HOCl. This HOCl is nothing but a hypochlorous acid, which on long standing, it gives HCl plus oxygen. This oxygen only acting as oxidizing agent. This oxygen only acting as oxidizing agent, we can say. Right. Now, oxidizing agent means it undergoes reduction. It undergoes reduction. For that, I am going to take reactions. That is FeSO4 plus H2SO4 plus Cl2. It gives rise to Fe2SO4 taken thrice plus HCl we can take. HCl we can take. Means here oxidation state is +2. Here it is +3. Chlorine is 0. Here it is -1. The oxidizing agent undergoes reduction. That is decrease in oxidation number. Even if you take with iodine, iodine reacts with H2O plus Cl2. It gives rise to HiO3 plus HCl. What is the name of HiO3? Anybody? What is the name of HiO3? What is the name of HiO3?
Hypoiodide.
Iodic acid.
Very good. Very good, Ra. Iodic acid. HiO3 is nothing but iodic acid. Very, very good. It is an example of oxo acid of
Iodine.
iodine. Very good. Now, come to the next one. What is the formula of phosgene? Phosgene formula, which is COCl2. Then tear gas formula, CCl3NO2. Mustard gas formula, Cl, CH2, CH2, yes, CH2, CH2, Cl. Like this, just to remember the names of these compounds also. Now come to the next compound, that is HCl. HCl. How can you prepare this HCl? We can prepare by using NaCl plus H2SO4. It gives rise to NaHSO4 plus HCl. Then this NaHSO4 plus NaCl gives rise to Na2SO4 plus HCl we can take, right? Other than this, directly you can take Mx plus H2SO4. It gives rise to Hx plus Na2 M2SO4. M2SO4 we can take in place of Mx, you can take NaCl, thereby you get HCl like this. That only they took in this manner. Okay, generally it is an acid, that is why it combines with the base, that is NH3. When it combines with acid, it forms NH4Cl. HCl, I have one question here. What is the nature of pure HCl? What is the nature of pure HCl? Arun,
Acidic.
what is the nature of pure HCl? Arun,
Sir, I don't know.
Syed, pure HCl, it is neither acidic nor basic. It is neutral. It is neutral. That is, pure HCl gas is neither acidic nor basic. When it dissolves in the water, that time only it is going to show the acidic behavior. It is going to show the acidic behavior. Right. Now, come to the aquaresia. What is that? Aquaresia. This aquaresia, which contains 3:1 part, that is 3:1 part of two acids, that is 3 parts of concentrated HCl, and 1 part of concentrated HNO3. Concentrated HNO3, it is used to dissolve noble metals. It is used to dissolve noble metals, Au, that is gold. When it reacts with H plus from acids, NO3 minus from acid, nitric acid, Cl minus from hydrochloric acid, it gives AuCl4 minus plus NO plus H2O you can take. Even if you take platinum, when it reacts with H plus plus NO3 minus plus Cl minus gives rise to PT Cl62 minus plus NO plus H2O you can take. What is the name of these two ones? Tetrachloridoarate. What is the name of this? Tetrachloridoarate. We can call like this, arate. 2 or 3? 3. What is the name of this one? Hexachloridoplatinate. Hexachloridoplatinate 4 you can take. 4 you can take. Right, very, very important. This is frequently they'll be asking. Then already oxo acids we know. Oxo acids of fluorine is available. And with fluorine, only one oxo acid is available, that is hypofluorous acid. The other name of hypofluorous acid is fluoric acid. We can call both hypofluorous acid or fluoric acid. This is the one and only oxo acids of fluorine. But the chlorine, what we can write? We can write for HClO, HOCl, HClO2, HClO3, and HClO4 we can take. Now, chlorine if you take, how many bonds I can write here? OHCl, OH like this. Then the remaining lone pairs I'll be writing like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then the next one is HClO2. That is Cl1OH will be like this. One double bond will be like this. Here one lone pair and here another lone pair. Then HClO4, you can take OH. Then here one double bond O. Here one double bond O. Then one lone pair. Then last one OH, double bond O, double bond O, double bond O. Now here we took all these things now. Which one is more acidic actually? Which one is more acidic actually? These type of questions will come for the competitive exams. Which one is more acidic? Here chlorine we can see +1 oxidation state. Here we can see +3 oxidation state. Here we can see +5 oxidation state. Here we can see +1 oxidation state. When the oxidation number is higher, there we can expect higher acidic behavior. Right, higher oxidation state, higher acidic behavior we can see. Even if you take HClO3, HbRO3, HiO3, which is more acidic, here all will be showing same oxidation state, but the one which has more electronegativity, it will be more acidic. Means HClO3 is more acidic when compared to HbRO3 followed by HiO3. Right. Now the last topic in this is the interhalogen compounds. Interhalogen compounds. What are interhalogen compounds? The interhalogen compounds are nothing but halogen combination. Halogen combination, that is X dash type, then X3 dash, and X5 dash, and X7 dash. Mainly if I take halogens and interhalogens, which is more reactive?
Interhalogen compounds.
Interhalogens are more reactive because the one which is going to form the central atom, that is ClF, it should be higher atomic number. High atomic number. The one which has the low atomic number is, it is more electronegative. That is more electronegative. That is ClF we can take. Now that is the reason we can develop a polarity. Automatically it gets negative charge and it gets positive charge. Easily we can see the reactivity. Easily we can see the reactivity more in the case of interhalogens. Let us see some reactions. Cl2 plus F2. If you take both are in equal volumes, it gives ClF. Right, what is the shape of ClF? You can see a linear geometry. You can see a linear geometry. Then if you take I2 plus Cl2, where Cl2 is excess, it gives ICl3. What is the shape here? You can expect a T-shaped molecule. Here generally we are speaking about a chemical bonding with respect to hybridization, everything. That only we are speaking here. ICl3, the structure will be like this. Suppose if you take BRF5, what is the BRF5 structure? Br, fluorine, another fluorine, and you can take one lone pair like this. One lone pair like this you can take. Then what is the name of this? Square pyramidal we can call. Square pyramidal we can call. Now the last one is the pentagonal bipyramidal, that is IF7. I'll be taking one pentagon type here. That way it will be easy for us. here 1, here 1, here 1, here 1, here 1. Then you take one fluorine like this, another fluorine like this. That is a pentagon, right? Okay. This is regarding IF7. What is the hybridization of IF7? Arun.
sp3d3.
Very good. Very good. How you are telling sp3d3? What formula you are using here? Half V plus M minus C plus A. This one you are using a?
No, sir. Like I saw it in a table previously while I was studying.
Okay, okay, okay. Here 1 by 2. Valence electrons of iodine is how much? 7.
7.
How many monovalent atoms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Any cation is there? Charge of cation is 0. Then charge of anion also 0. 14 by 2, how much? 7. 7 orbitals. That is 1s, 3p and 3d. Totally we can see 7 orbitals. Okay. With this we are